Some really scary stuff coming from the Call of Duty scene, as we have a Twitch streamer who has now been threatened by a viewer that was interested in this streamer, and after being neglected and then blocked by that streamer, he has now decided to threaten an entire Call of Duty event, that being COD Champs, with a threat that is not necessarily too frequent in the Call of Duty esports and gaming space, but definitely something we are not strangers to when it comes to these kind of violent threats at events. As the streamer known as Miss Oatmeal posted, after being sexually harassed by this man, I have had him banned on my Twitch for almost 2 months. I'm now receiving multiple screenshots from several people of him wanting to shoot me and whoever else at Champs in July. He's talked about it for almost 2 months after I've had zero contact. And right away, yes, you read that correctly. A viewer out there is now threatening to shoot a streamer and to shoot up an esports event, all because she eventually blocked him and had no interest in his advances made towards her as a creator. As she shows messages saying why, what's happening, being sent pictures, what do you mean? And he says, well, I'm going to Champs with a plan. And then clearly showing a picture of him with a firearm, and a continued conversation here where she shows messages of him saying, I want to see if they talk crap when they have a barrel aimed right at them. Other screenshots, she shared a lot of messages here, him saying, we're armed, I'll shoot her 40 perf, all of them. The messages go on. And a follow-up tweet saying his name is Jay Romero and he shouldn't be going to an event. Does anyone know anyone helping host Champs in July? More messages saying, I shoot, ask questions later. Someone told me to chill. Y'all all got bullets in Champs from me. I got threats. I don't threaten people. I show up. I have bodies to prove. And on, along with a picture of the alleged guy who said all this stuff. So very clearly, this is an extremely serious case, something unfortunately a lot of women and a lot of creators and streamers have to deal with this in this space. And it also seems to happen after that point of rejection where like streamers don't necessarily, choose to reciprocate the same feelings that some viewers have for them. And this is extreme. Obviously went viral throughout all of the Call of Duty and esports scene. Luckily, thanks to Adam Apicella, people like Puckett, other talent out there too, the proper authorities have been contacted. If you go through her replies though, it's kind of crazy because she has contacted local PD and she says they can't do anything for her, which is like absurd when you have someone threatening you and then showing you pictures of the weapon and threatening an entire esports event that thousands of people are going to be going to, and law enforcement is like, good luck. So easily one of the craziest things that I have seen in some time. Luckily, the proper people have been notified, and hopefully the proper precautions will be taken by Call of Duty and those hosting the event and those attending the event, spreading this for awareness, and something that's been all too common in this space. And of course, in America, I'm sure you guys are well aware of this, but we stretch back to the infamous Madden shooting. If you guys don't remember this, it was when I first started working in the game and esports space. An absolute tragedy, one of the luckily few fatal threats and unfortunately shootings that esports and gaming has seen, but it's certainly one of the most noted, as there was a shooter and also a competitor at this Madden event. His name was David Katz, and eventually led to the killing of 2 separate and also very young victims, one being Elijah Clayton and the other being Taylor Robertson. I believe both of these were also competitors at the event. And reading through this story, it's just chilling because you remember the details of it. The guy was at the event, he was competing, and he had just lost. And then 5 to 10 minutes later, as so recounted, opened fire at the event, leading to 2 fatalities of those young men and 12 more injured, and going down in history as it was a pure tragedy. It was just through the entire Madden community, a large portion of the gaming community, just senseless killing from someone who, by the way, was treated for mental health issues years prior. And it's just a reminder to take these things very seriously and always be well aware of your surroundings, especially when someone is so open about these things. I do think something should be done. And like I've said many times throughout this video, we are no stranger to these kind of threats. It was actually a previous CDL major this year in Miami. Now, it just so happens that it was in Miami. Who knows what goes down there on a daily basis, but there was an active shooter spotted in the same hotel that all of the players were residing in. It got so crazy that pro player Lamar, otherwise known as Accuracy, there were shots fired in the room right next door to him in his hotel. You can only imagine how terrifying something like that is, and obviously making local news as well. This is when everyone else was finding out about it.
Right now, a large police scene in Fort Lauderdale.
Working to confirm reports of a shooting. Let's get to Gio Insignara is live in the newsroom. Gio, what have you learned?
Well, Eric, Alexis, right now this is very much a developing situation, so if we can, we want to get to some video of the scene right now. At least this was earlier right now, because we're trying to get to the location live to show you at the moment. But this video you're looking at on your screen right now was sent in to us, and you can see a response in Fort Lauderdale. It seems like a rather major response too. Notice it's not just 1, 2, 3 police cruisers. I counted at least 4 in the area. Could perhaps be more. Let's get to those live photos right now. This is live from Sky 10 at the moment, and that certainly gives you a better perspective as to what we're looking at right now.
But I've actually really started to do this kind of like side desk angle to reconnect with you guys in a different way. So hopefully you guys like it too, to present a lesser angle of this. Luckily everyone okay in this instance, but something maybe some of you have also noted. We had a bomb evacuation. We're talking about someone calling in a bomb threat to an esports event, throwback all the way to what I believe was UMG Philly 2014. And it was Optic Hex, not so long ago, a few years back, revealing the exclusive footage of the event, of them being forced to evacuate, luckily taking things serious. And then you have someone like Nadeshot in the background joking like, no, we're gonna stick it out. Footage of how those guys did react and how I don't think it'd be the same way nowadays.
All of a sudden, as we are in the middle of this tournament, people find out where we're at because everybody's posting, everybody's together, everybody's celebrating the fact that they're with each other. Somebody calls in a bomb threat.
Here.
The fire alarm went off.
Someone got
Guess
swatted.
what?
Strictly
We're gonna
business.
be rebels, and we're staying inside with the flames.
What if we burn?
Must be Scumpy's hair.
They could have get swatted.
Something's about to blow up.
Probably. All they need is
Stupid ass.
They know the address of the.
Everyone attention, please. I need everyone to evacuate the building immediately. Please safely come down to
I know what's going on.
fire exits and exit the building at a time to safe for the pass.
Nate. Seth.
And then I was doing more research for this story, and I'm like, okay, that's an instance here, a Genshin Impact story here. There's countless bomb evacuations for gaming events. I would say probably close to a dozen over the past dozen years or so. And then I was like, I think I've done some videos on stuff like this, thinking back to a Call of Duty player who I believe threatened to shoot up a Miami event, and that I had covered a long time ago. Now, apparently this beef was eventually resolved. He was joking and just took it way too far on the internet. But he apparently had threatened for, I think, CWL Miami years back to do the same, to bring a gun to the venue. And then while looking that up, I also found a different story of a Challengers player, Jimbo. If you know, you know. Apparently he was suspended at one point for 3 months for threatening to violence on other people. I believe he was threatening to shoot someone. like Call of Duty, man. I feel 75% of these stories have been Call of Duty based. I don't know why. I don't know where it comes from, but it's a popular game, obviously. But luckily, a lot of these threats have ended in nothing happening. Did you see what I had on this? Like, I got bad skin. This camera's, maybe covering some. Did you see the dot? I had the acne right in the center of my goddamn forehead, dude. I'm so ugly. So I share all of these not to recount all of the terrible instances that gaming has had, but just to show how serious something like this should be taken. I've been covering these things for 4 to 5 years. Luckily, I've not had to cover too many of these instances, but when someone is crazy enough to post this kind of thing on social media and threaten these kind of things, I just got to be careful, and I think something should be done about it. And then I've also forgotten, man, there have been a lot of threats in esports. It's like I just started Googling things, and all of a sudden, like, my stuff's popping up, and I'm like, I forgot that even happened. Luckily, just, when we're counting the bomb threats and evacuations that have happened throughout history, some of those I'm sure just for broken fire extinguishers. But a very serious threat placed upon a Twitch streamer and for Call of Duty champs. We await an update on this, and hopefully, again, necessary precautions will be taken. Hope you guys all enjoy. All right, we got a big story coming tomorrow. Call of Duty X Defiant. Oh boy, we got some opinions, okay? Hopefully you do as well. We'll see you tomorrow.